Yeah, man.
You can cut out whatever you don't need.
Yeah,
But
man.
at least you got it.
The biggest
D&D podcast.
the
The biggest podcast in the world coming together. We got
That is amazing. That's y'all that D&D podcast.
D&D
That was-
Level Up podcast.
That was my first company, man. It was D&D Lawn Care because it was with my oldest son. It was his godfather. We were like in 6th grade and we got our bread together. We made our own lawn company. His name was just DJ, so it was D&D Lawn Care.
Hey, D&D. We tripled. We multiplying over here, y'all. We are leveling up. We added another D, literally, to the conversation.
Oh, I didn't even think about it.
We added. This is crazy, bro. It's so good to have a good brother sitting next to us, man. With some, I feel like the intent to raise his community is high.
Yeah.
I feel those vibes, and if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But if I'm not, then we got somebody really good sitting with us, man. You don't get this type of individual to sit and talk with you, or have conversations, or level up with you.
Correct.
Every day.
Yeah.
And you gotta. And we appreciate you for being on, man.
Sir.
I appreciate the invite, for sure.
Now, once again,
D&D
please, D&D leveling up with our guests.
Yes.
DJ Bay.
DJ Bay.
Yours truly, Dirk W. Taylor, Dirk Warren Taylor, DWT in the house.
And you know, the last one on the announcing podcast side of it, King D Money, aka Darren Effort.
All right. So basically, this, guys, is a financial podcast. We're basically going to just talk about business, financial things, investing in yourself. Mr. Bay, he has a lot of knowledge to share with you guys. We want to try to give you as much information to start leveling yourself up and starting. The hardest part is starting. So without any further ado, you told us a couple of things about what you already do. So kind of you want to just tell them basically who you are, what you do, and how you got to that point.
Ooh, man.
I mean, that's
as much as you can in the time that we have.
Yeah. All right. So I'm DJ Bay once again. I always give my status whenever I present myself. I'm a Lenape Indian. I'm a descendant of King Tammany Chief White Eyes and another plethora of great indigenous people who were detrimental in the founding of this great nation that we all reside in. So with me understanding who my ancestors are, I have taken the charge in order to make sure that I walk in that same path that they did in order to make this place so great. So I pride myself on educating people in the things that the average individual does not receive, such as like financial literacy, spiritual enlightenment, just making sure that those gaps within our community are filled by those people who actually understand what our needs are. So I teach financial literacy. I help people get funded for their businesses. I help business startups, people who have interest in cryptocurrencies, metaverse. I have 3 cryptocurrencies myself. I coded out the smart contracts myself. And we are on multiple blockchains, and just making the main reason why I mentioned that is because this is a new emerging market. Well, it's an emerging market that's been around since between the 50s and the 80s, depending on which side you're speaking on, and a lot of people don't know that. So it's imperative that we, as a culture, as a people, do not get left behind and be waking up looking at, like cryptocurrency, like people are looking at Netflix and Bitcoin now, because they missed out in 09 and 08. So it's imperative that we close that education gap so that we can insert ourselves in that financial realm. But that's pretty much it.
Okay. Thank you again for coming. There was one thing that I did talk to Daryl about is about investing in yourself, in your business. It seems like you've invested a lot in yourself to get to this point. I mean,
More than my Empress will like.
So tell me some things, like basically in terms of like if a person's trying to get a startup business, basically. We did talk about like startups, and we talked about the things that you need in order to start to get yourself started, in order to get a business going, the standards that you need to have, the type of mindset that you need to have in order to start your business. You want to expound on? Anybody want to expound? You wanna say
I
something?
mean, I'll leave it up to the
expert.
good brother over here.
Brother, okay.
So there's level, and we know there's multiple different types of business models. I've been fortunate enough to be able to help some people establish business models with less than $100. So it depends on if you're looking to register within a state or if you're just looking to start up, because there's public and private commerce, and that's something that a lot of people don't understand. So you can, when you register in the state, you're saying that you want to be able to receive some of the privileges that this state offers when you're conducting business, and that's not always necessary in order for you to run a business. In most cases, you just need an EIN number, which you get from the IRS, which is completely free. So then right now, we're still at zero right now.
Right.
So paperwork, you can pull free templates offline in order to get your articles of incorporation, your bylaws. You can pull a free template and you just swap out the name with the company name that you establish after you call that IRS for free. Get your EIN number. So now you have your documents, you have your EIN, and you have everything that you need in order to go open up a bank account. So let's say I want to do a lawn care company, and then like I already have a lawnmower, cut my own grass. I have a rake. I could go to Dollar Tree, go grab trash bags and things. Like we're still well under the $100 threshold here, and it's really about what I like to do is I established the algorithm. I call it 10 and 10. So we take
10 and 10.
Yeah, we take the 10 things that you believe that you like/love to do, and then we also run those against the 10 most beneficial things that are going on in the economy, the most paid things, and we run both of these against each other, and we'll pull the top 3. But we don't get rid of anything. We utilize the top 3 in order to segue you into the other 7.
Okay, so you don't start 10 businesses
No.
the first day.
We pick the most beneficial, most affordable one, and we allow that to segue you over into the other 9.
Wow.
Okay, so we're kind of like building a self-esteem inside business.
Yes.
So you let one business flourish. You still have those other ideas you want to do, or even start already, but you run that first business and let it incubate basically for the rest of your businesses.
Let's say number 7 through 10, overhead is over $150K. You have to work your way up into that, but we can allow these first businesses, these first 3, in order to help me get some startup. Help me generate some business credit so I can go pull it down, or either I run funds through this business bank account and it shows that this business is making enough money to where somebody would be willing to give me $150,000 so I can make my dream business happen.
Ooh. I think that's I feel like that's some of people's biggest fears.
Yeah.
Is that they can see the end. Mm-hmm. They can see the $1 million business. They can see the $100,000 business. But how do you get out of the day-to-day job to put the money
into that business,
to put money into the business to get to the $100,000?
That's a really good question, because average 9 to 5 we look at, it's just, I tell people most individuals, they say bird's eye view. I'm like, you have to step back and have a God's eye view. You really have to be able to observe things on a whole scope instead of just tunnel visioning in, because you're going to miss something.
Yeah.
So when you can step back and you can look at the whole situation, it allows you to see like, okay, I need to pivot here, I need to adjust here. And when we're looking at scaling, most people are just, they see, like how you said, they see the end goal, they see the Z. You have the A, you know where you want to, you know where you're starting at, you see the Z. What about all the in between?
Yeah.
That's what I'm showing people. You can't forget the in between. So we can get you to the Z, but all right, we got the A. Now let's work on the B. B being your first business. Let's start this one, and then we can scale you up into your corporation, to your company.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, mindset, and also the mindset to get to that point, because a lot of times it's like you can just give up easily on a business very quickly, because a business usually takes 3 to 5 years to be profitable, or depending on how good you are at business.
No, that's about right. Some of my most profitable businesses are they're coming up on 6 years now.
Yeah, so it takes that amount of time. So if you think that this is going to be something that's going to happen like quickly, it's not going to happen quickly. It's something that it can't. If you have experience and you have somebody to advise you, you can go about just like you're advising our audience right now. They can actually start making some traction based on knowledge. But you've got to acquire a lot of knowledge in order to be successful, and you got to be around people who are already successful at doing it.
That's what I was going to say.
if you're around people who are successful, they'll guide you, and all those landmines that you would normally go through business, you won't have to go through because they do it. Most people decide like, I don't know where to start. You know, basically. So if someone says, okay, I don't know where to start at this, where should they go? What should they do?
My question is, like the 10 to 10, what do you like/love to do? Because if you hate it, you're not going to be good.
Exactly.
You're going to let it fail. You're going to let it fail.
You're going to let it fail. I saw a speaker, I'm not going to mention his name, but I went to this guy's convention. His name, he used to be the former president of the United States. You know what I'm saying? It starts with, he has the same initials as me, DT.
All right.
What I'm saying? So he did say something, and I did get something out of this seminar. This is before he became the president. He said that don't do things that you don't have a passion for. He said, I had a passion for real estate. That's why I'm successful in it, because I like doing that. If you do something you don't like doing, you're gonna fail at it because if you're looking at it for the money's sake, then it's gonna fall, because the money, after you get the money, doesn't make any difference. Your motivation is what's most important. If you don't have the motivation to do it, then it becomes like, when it gets harder, you're gonna be like, man, this ain't working, I ain't making any money, you know what I'm saying, I don't wanna do this anymore.
That is very true. But then there's individuals like me. I have learned to talk myself into doing things I don't care for. I'm a Sagittarius.
Yeah.
Procrastination is one of our weaknesses.
Yeah, it's called discipline.
Yeah. So I'll be like, get up, do it. I coach and I tweak my brain to where it's beneficial for what my plans are, not what I want, but what I need in my life. And that's what people have to learn to separate.
Yeah.
And that's a hard lesson, because that's a hard lesson for me, because I've come to realize in the little bit of time I've been on earth that sometimes you just got to do the things that make money sense, so that you can get to the things that you love, so that you can work the things that you love. Because if you work the things that you love and things don't work out, you kind of I feel like you're breaking yourself. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You're doing the thing that you're always passionate about, but that thing don't show you the same. It don't show you the same love at first.
Yeah.
That's people are trying to make hobbies businesses. That's
Wow, it's tight.
Like, some things are meant to remain hobbies. I remember when I was young, and it was a millionaire. I don't know if you all have ever heard of the fertilizer company called True Green. They're like okay. I know the person who sold his contract to True Green. That's the reason why True Green is who they are today. I used to work with him. His name is Frank. And Frank told me, he was like, people will put their hobbies over their business ambitions. And this is coming from a dude who's breaking M's. And I was like, I'm doing karate at the time. I'm going heavy. So I'm like, is this shot at me?
Man, when you see the people, you gotta have your self-esteem up, because they'll say things that just kind of, like, you have to ask yourself, is it me?
Yeah.
And you have to step back and go, you know what, maybe let me put myself like right here and listen to this good information, like you were saying.
Yeah, because we have to be unbiased. Even like when he mentioned Donald Trump, that's a man who's raked in a lot of bread. He's lost it and got it back. Yeah. That's a winning situation. Those are things you pay attention to. Yeah. And he paid less than $1,000 in taxes when he has how much money? Come on, you pay attention to it.
And so it's funny, you can actually learn from people. Just because you don't like them doesn't mean you can't learn from them.
That's a whole nother bag of worms right there.
You know what I'm saying? You didn't have to respect them. And this is, trust me, this is not.
You don't have to respect them at all.
Yeah, you don't have to
learn a
respect
lesson
them
from them.
To learn a lesson, because your life lessons come a lot of times through your problems.
Yes.
And through you trying to figure things out. So if a person's a problem, sometimes you're trying to solve, like if they're a problem, they're really not affecting me in any way, like whatever he does. But you can learn from him.
Even with former President Trump, like, individuals are presented in our lives for a reason. Yeah. And most time it's for a learning experience. Yeah. I don't have mistakes. I have learning experiences. Yeah. Perception is everything in my world. Yeah. And people be like, you're so I'm slightly optimistic, but I'm super realistic. Yeah. But I'm not pessimistic.
You're not pessimistic.
Because I'm going to shape my world. Like I tell people, I have no oppressor. Nobody's ruining my day, holding me back. Yeah. I don't allow those type of things to manifest in my mind.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm like, I create the world that I desire. I create the business situations I desire. Yeah. And I, like, literally, if I say I want this much money, I've done it before. I'm like, I'm gonna make this much today.
Yeah.
Because I say it, I think it, I put it into the atmospheres, into the ethers, and it will manifest.
Yeah.
And also, I actually work towards it because it's the same way I would say, a man without
Works, faith without works is dead.
Exactly.
So you gotta work now. You gotta work. If you're gonna try to put something together, and if you want to start, you start first, then you start working at it. And I realize one thing: if you do have a 9-to-5 job, you've got to get to the point where you're passionate about making it work, which means stop watching TV, stop doing other things that's distracting you from
Time management.
Time management. If you manage your time better, and you start saying, okay, listen, this is where I want to be at. You know, I had to come to the realization, even in business, that listen, how much time I expend, because if you have a 9-to-5 job, even Gary Vee says that. As soon as you get home, that's your business time to work on your business. You get that time period where you can work on it and get certain things started, or you can leverage it with other people that you have. You were gonna say something.
No, I was doing the math because like I'm very open about my affiliations. I was one of the youngest Masons to be initiated in the state of Michigan, so I understand what that particular brotherhood or that science means, and they have a teaching within that order, and you break your day up by 3 parts, 8-hour periods. So usually 8 hours for work, 8 hours for rest, and 8 hours for your family. That 8-hour system don't work for me.
Yeah.
It don't work for me.
It does not work.
You know, I sleep most days 4 hours, and then I work for myself. So most days I'm working well over 8 hours, in some cases 12, and then I have a little one. So what's that? We got 12, 4, 16. I still have, but then I'm gonna want to eat.
Yeah.
And then so that's what I'm thinking about when you working and you doing your 9 to 5 and stuff, right? They give you an hour for your lunch. You have to clock in. You have to actually drive there. You're actually giving more than that 8 hours because travel period, and then like they don't pay for your lunch.
This right here is a guy's view.
Yeah.
You gotta see that whole. You gotta see your whole schedule. People think you just come to work for those 8 hours.
Yeah.
No, you're getting up, getting dressed,
Correct.
clothed, ready to get in the car. Then you drive.
Yeah.
Then you get there, and then who knows? It might not even be time for you to clock in just yet.
True.
You sitting.
You're sitting. Because a lot of stuff, even any job, there's idle time in those jobs. Really, you gotta realize how much. Like I used to work as a teacher, and at a certain point we had like time. It was like we might have 2 or 3 hours of just idle time.
And that is idle time is hustle time.
Hustle time.
Idle time is hustle time.
Idle time. Let's say that again. Idle time is hustle time.
Anytime, like empty hands is never it. Like we have a private family office. We deal in private equity. So I just grab all of our members' credit profiles. I clean up everybody's credit, and they're gonna be in a position to get funded by December. So it's just understanding, like most of these are people who work. So having a network, it actually helps people to segue out of that 9 to 5 situation. So building a team is very important, and also understanding what it is that you want, because unless your 9 to 5 is something that you're doing yourself, you're usually allocating out your time to someone else. And there are not many cases when wealth has been derived from those situations.
So it's far and few in between, right?
Unless you're making 6-7 figures working for somebody.
That's the only way to do that. Yeah.
And that's the thing. I mean, it's really, to be honest with you, unless you're making 6 figures, to me personally, you're not really getting where you need to be at. Because there's so much you got to deal with, just as a man or a black man, period. Like, you really need to have a certain level of money in order to
dealing as a U.S. citizen,
exactly,
who pays taxes.
Exactly.
If you're making above those 6 figures,
I'm tax exempt.
I'm tax exempt. Yes, sir.
You see,
I help people. Do that. Get a church. Figure out if you belong to a tribe. Your taxes is followed. You know it's literally. Respectfully, y'all can look this up. I'm not just saying things. You can look for the federal law that says you must pay taxes. That is voluntary. This is why I say people don't read. But if you operate through a social security number, you then are assumed to be a federal employee and then take on tax liability.
Oh, wow. Because taxes are another reason. Well, people who are usually wealthy, they avoid taxes, right?
They
pay less taxes. I'll give you an example. Like, it's interesting. Like when I was in school studying to be a principal, they had this section where they kind of show you the demographic, like where like more affluent areas they pay less taxes. And then the more, the lesser or the more impoverished places, they pay more taxes for more goods and services that are around that area. Mm-hmm. So because they need more police, they need more firefighters, they need more of this or that, they pay actually more taxes because they need more services. When you're at more affluent areas, they never needed to have that many services because...
Perfect. Miami versus Southwest Ranches. Perfect example.
Oh, man.
Dade has all those police. I haven't seen not one cop car in Southwest Ranches.
Yeah, it's different because they have more money to spread around, and guess what? They need less policing because guess what? There's not that most people are rich. There's not going to be a lot of robberies going on.
There's less people.
There's less people
on more land.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's nothing but massive.
So which is nothing but an equation for having less municipalities have to be there.
Yeah.
Because if you and then those type of people are self-sustaining most of the time. They take care of them. They can take care of themselves. If there was something going on, they're not looking for the police to fix it as soon as something happens.
Yeah.
They try to assess the situation on their own. Yeah.
They got many different other avenues that people who are in those positions don't have.
And that's the benefit of being able to establish yourself financially. Like you gain security
exactly.
on multiple levels.
Exactly. There's a lot of security, and that's the thing. When you start thinking about financial independence, it's really just creating a secure life and a life that has options. Because really, you're only as good as the options that you're able to exercise. So if you can't exercise options, it's like you might want to do something, but you don't have. It's either you got to gain strategy to get someone to help you to get to a certain point, or you take it. You can't just take things, right? So you got to get to the point where you understand, like, listen, or you align yourself with somebody else. Like we talked about this whole thing about, we talked about this before, is that the business models that different billionaires have, like Warren Buffett and
PG Farms.
Yeah, exactly. Rockefeller, how they align themselves.
Insurance.
And they align themselves with individuals who help them leverage where they were at to get to a certain point. And they just did whatever they did. They concentrated on what they did, but they had to have somebody else. Mark Cuban had to have a group of individuals. They bought a bar. They were successful. They all branched out after being successful at that bar. He took his money and leveraged it into something else. But you got to realize you don't have to do this by yourself. You got to align yourself with either somebody's going to give you some knowledge.
You got to find the people who will do it.
Exactly. You got to find.
That is the journey.
That's the journey.
That's the journey I'm on right now.
Yeah.
I'm on that journey right now. That's why the podcast.
Europeans have no problem. They could despise each other, but they gonna break bread
break
with each other every time.
Yeah.
And I hate time, but we get paid tomorrow, so I'm gonna deal with it.
Yeah.
There it is. I don't like Hank or his wife.
Exactly.
But they help us. They help us get Johnny into the equestrian center down the street.
Yeah. Yeah.
They help us secure that spot that we need for Sarah to be in ballet school next month.
When I hear you say it like that, I realize what it is, and I say it all the time. We're too emotionally involved.
It's so funny. It's so funny. You think about. I was like, man, you know what? I said we are as a people. We're very emotional. And
we're deep in that.
We're very deep in that because we're in a society and a culture that we have is that we base a lot of things off our emotions. Like we're we're passionate about a lot of things, and we're very critical about other things. We're very, very critical about each other. Like if you see two black men walking down the street towards you, right, in the middle of the night, what do you start thinking about?
All types of different
All type
random
of
stuff.
random stuff you think. Now,
the randomness.
You know what I'm saying? I remember I saw a video where they had like a couple of black guys. They were going to and from houses. They were actually singing Christmas carols. Mm-hmm. But the impression of looking at it in the first initial was that, this is a gang, or whether you're gonna rob people, or, and we don't understand this. We're only we're a small percentage of the population. 60% is Caucasian. The rest is a certain. You have Hispanics and you have Asians, but 60% of this country are Caucasian people. So if that's the case,
I gotta see those.
and
I'm like, how?
It's like how?
Yeah, I'm like, how?
So
None of them are from here. That like, how did they outpopulate us when we're the original people here?
Well, I'll tell you one thing that's interesting that I saw. It's a video. I gotta send it to you guys. Is that when people came to this, like where people who are Caucasian came to this, there was no Caucasian. It was like, I'm Scottish, I'm Irish, I'm this, I'm that, or I'm Italian. When those other cultures came here, the government and certain individuals said, okay, listen, we got to separate these individuals. We got to create some class divides. Now, these people are not going to make any money. You know what I'm saying? Because it's really the rich against the poor. There's nothing to do with skin
Your
color.
nationality.
Your nationality.
Yeah, really, yeah.
So it's like, I remember that this one of the individuals, like when I came here, people were telling me, I was telling people I'm Italian, but then like they're telling me, no, you're white. You're white. You're not Italian. You're not Irish. You're not what you call it. You're white. So
Colorful laws. They
exactly.
don't. That's.
So they want them to assimilate. You know what I'm saying? Sorry to cut you. They wanted them to assimilate into this quote unquote white culture or white race because we're not going to give you any money, but guess what? You get to be white. That's your payment. So when you see situations where people are like going about classism, those people who are poor whites. I remember there was a situation where it wasn't H. Rap Brown. It was one of the guys who used to be in the Black Panther movement. He had what is called the Rainbow Coalition. We had like poor whites, poor blacks, different Hispanics, all were coming together because they were realizing it wasn't a racial issue. It was an issue with terms of class rating.
Colorful laws.
Yeah, it was classes. It was basically, we don't really care about if you're white or black. We care if you're rich or poor. And the people who are in power were like, listen, we're making all these classes, divide them to fight each other because guess what? We're not empowering the generation. We are a democratic republic, which means that, it's not for the people, by the people. That's not we're actually a democratic republic. It's supposed to be for the people, by the people, but it's not. It's the government who determines that, and that's what they put on the rest of the country. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
It's the projecting of classism is mainly putting, so in retrospect to what you're saying, they say it's not about color, but there's people, if you're classified as black, which is a social misnomer, and a lot of people don't understand that in law, I'm a tribal attorney for a couple different tribes. In law, black literally means civil mortuus, which means legally dead. So if these people construct these colorful terms in order to place on people, they're putting you in a losing situation whenever you accept these colorful terms. And so-called black people are redlining their credit, but so-called white people are not. So we are talking about financial situations based on your status now. So-called white neighborhoods don't have credit issues. If you're in a hood or a ghetto, they redline your credit.
Yeah, they've been zoned. It's interesting. They should pick this up. I was looking at a documentary on Lil Baby. They were talking about when the Atlanta Olympics came to Atlanta. They started to knock down certain impoverished areas and gentrify those areas so that the world wouldn't see what the poverty that was going on there. And so they would move whole people out of their neighborhoods and knock all their buildings down, knock where they live. They had to try to find some place to live. And because of course they don't own it, right? So they had to go. And those were surround the stadiums. And what they also did is they created a situation where they started militarizing the police to try to drive individuals from one area to the next because they didn't want any type of crime or any type of thing. But they were like, and one of the person who was focused on this the most and was like, oh, I don't care if you are impoverished, I don't care if you had a rough upbringing, I don't care if you were born in the ghetto or whatever. It was our current president who put a lot of those laws in place that's actually allowing for a lot of our black men to be incarcerated at this point.
That was well before he was president.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm about the three strikes rules and things like that. Yeah. People should really look into people's history before they start endorsing them.
Exactly.
I'm like, instead of being emotionally involved, look for the better businessman when it's about running a business, because the United States has an EIN number.
There it is.
It's literally a business.
It's a business. It's a business. Everything is a business, really. Everything comes down to business. And if you don't actually start running your life like a business, you are always going to be, you know what I'm saying? You got to run your life like a corporation. You're the CEO of the corporation. You know what I'm saying? Marriage is a business.
That's what it originally
marriage
was for.
is a business. People don't realize marriage is a business. Like people think, oh, it's a social contract and all this thing. No, marriage is a business. It's like any other business. And you dealing with we're all playing a game, really. Everybody's playing the game. It's how to win the game. Some people know more about the knowledge about the game.
Monopoly.
Monopoly.
You get color money.
Color
Pass
money.
it around.
Yeah.
You're supposed to stay in jail.
Exactly.
You get your token,
Yeah.
and usually that's your social security card, your birth certificate, so that you can move around and conduct your commercial activity.
Yeah.
And you're supposed to acquire as much real estate as you can.
Yeah.
And have a good relationship with the banker.
Yeah.
Craziest thing about that is that they actually do have a spot for jail.
Yeah.
So that lets us know, like if we weren't playing this game as colored people or black people, whatever you want to call it, then there were other people playing this game.
Yeah.
To include jail
Yeah.
in there knows that you might end up there,
Yeah.
but then you might end up on Broadway
Yeah.
on the next term.
Yeah.
You might go there for a little while
Yeah.
because you evaded taxes.
Taxes.
You evaded taxes.
Yeah.
Man, been on somebody else's property.
One of your neighbors put you there because they want your property.
Yeah.
You may be there for a second, but that's what I'm saying. This game speaks to it. It's not the end of the game.
You can still win.
It's not the end of the game. You
Yeah.
can still come out there and own three hotels on each one of the slots before the game ends.
These people on the railroads who go to jail. Come on,
They go. That's what I'm
keep
saying.
playing the game.
We have.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, it's like it speaks to the how I feel like they teach other cultures to be a little bit fearless
Yeah.
of certain situations. We stop at the jail.
Yeah. We stop at the
We literally stop there
Yeah.
because it provides, as a black man, it provides you with food, shelter, and for some people, companionship.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to go that far, but be
I
real.
like my fresh air, my
want
refrigerator,
fresh air
and my
and
women.
Some people like that, like the 3 square meals a day and being able to do 500
But
push-ups.
see,
Yeah.
when we are able to assert ourselves properly financially, we should be able to establish centers for individuals to go and not be real rehabilitation centers, because it's a great movie I watched when I was younger. Michael Moore, We're Doing Vague Next. I've seen how they run prison systems outside of the United States jurisdiction, like over in Greece and stuff. Like, if people are doing drugs, they was like, do you want to come in? They're not arresting these people. They're like, do you want rehabilitation? And they have keys. And like, bro, they live in like my luxury apartment. I was in Miami, like for real, bro. They live in good, no bars. They have keys to their home cells. I'm like, it's amazing though. It's because of what the country or the people want for these people. They want them truly rehabilitated.
Correct. And we want slavery, because you know what? I realize this country, slavery has not ended. Because a majority of
Article 13.
Amendment 13. Yeah, Amendment 13. But you know, it hasn't ended because it's just converted into another system.
It's sharing another face.
It just has another face on it, because most prisons are privately owned. So if most prisons are privately owned, that means that there must be some type of motivation to get people into that prison. Who's feeding that system? They just had a judge who just had to pay a whole bunch of millions of dollars in judgment because he was sending kids to jail for small little different infractions, and after a period of time they're going to stay in the system. They're going to continue to stay. You get in the system after a while,
It's hard to get out.
It's hard to get out. Exactly. No one's going to hire you, so you're going to go back to doing the things that you were doing before, right?
It's a losing situation.
Exactly.
They understand the hamster wheel they created.
There it is.
And they know that. So what happens is they're feeding, and what are they doing when they're in prison? You know, making license plates for pennies on the dollar and things like that effect. So they're working. You know what I'm saying? It's free labor.
It's free labor.
It's free labor. And guess what? We've got to get to the point of being, waking up to this. Like, listen, when I saw some Black Lives Matter protests and things, I'm thinking, listen, that doesn't hurt this economy. This doesn't hurt this country. What hurts is money. You know what I'm saying? If you come together financially, because we're one of the largest consumers of products, just us as a people. We have so much purchasing power. Why are we not taking all that purchasing power and using it to our own benefit and leveraging it for ourselves? Go ahead.
We're not taking that purchasing power mainly because we don't have businesses to patronize amongst one another.
Correct.
Because if we have more companies, like I literally know women who are going to only melanated women to get their nails done right now because they don't like the way the Asian women are doing them. If there were more melanated nail salons, more of them would be getting patronized.
Yeah.
We have to make the businesses to keep the money within our system. Otherwise, we don't own no gas stations.
Exactly.
Arabs get that every time. We don't own hotels.
Otherwise, man, it's always in my head. I'm like, why do we have that much purchasing power?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That somebody's got to be giving us that type of money.
We've always been the number one working force.
Always the number one working force.
We've always been the number one working force.
Wow.
We have always been the ones who have created. So that's the whole FBA Foundation of Black America argument, because they say they're the ones who built America today. So if that's the case, remember, we were the ones who had the trades. We were the ones with the skills. We were building the railroads and stuff, and they came over on boats later, and they had to learn what we were already over here doing. Ooh. So we have always been the number one working class. We the ones who pay our bills. Pull the statistics. Like, we pay our credit cards, everything.
It's crazy. You know, somewhere, don't quote me, y'all, we're 13% of the population.
I think it's 13%.
Close.
United States.
United States.
Okay. I think we are 13%. It's somewhere between there.
I feel like they lying to us.
If they
don't want us to know, like, it's
a lot
of us.
Exactly.
Or maybe a lot of us didn't pick black or colored, Hispanic.
Exactly.
A lot of us didn't pick that.
Exactly. It's also
because we knew what the deal was.
Yeah, and it's also based on the census. And we don't do the census.
We don't. No.
You know what I'm saying? We don't really do the census.
How does 13% of the population?
That's true.
How does 13% of the population spend more than the what? 87%?
Your math not mathing.
It's not mathing. It's not mathing. It's not making sense to me.
We the number one spenders, but it's more y'all. So you telling me y'all hold all y'all money?
Exactly. If it's true, y'all write us in the comments. You show us the stats. Tell us it's true. We may be off just a little bit, but we just want to give y'all the disparity. Just give y'all the God's view of the disparity that we see going on. If you start thinking about these numbers, you can't do nothing but ask yourself questions like, if we got that much money coming into this, into 13% of the population, to carry basically what you're saying, carry all the businesses, paying out for certain things. What type of we must be really wielding the giantest stick ever.
Exactly. but that's if you don't
don't know that we got this much power behind us. That's hard.
That's what bothers me. Like, my issue is like,
why is our self-esteem not higher?
Exactly.
That's not the problem. That's not the problem.
Okay.
It boils down to education.
Yeah.
That's really what, because we allow other people to educate us.
Oh, that is true.
So what we think, we're not even thinking for ourselves right now, because you've been taught to think in this box that I've constructed for you. I've gave you the information and the parameters for you to operate in. Basic economics, supply and demand. Most of us wash our dishes with Dawn dish soap, right? But they only have the Sun stuff that you see at Dollar Tree in the store. You still gotta wash your dishes. So you're gonna buy the Sun stuff. Supply and demand. You're gonna take what I give you. Whatever's left on the shelf is the only option you have.
What I tell you, you can have.
And see, and this is the problem for me. Like, I'll give you an example. One thing I saw the disparity between us starting off. You know, if we're coming in here as workers, right? We really built up this country through cotton, which is really textiles and clothing. That's why we have so much money here in this country, because basically it's been off the backs of slaves, right? So if that's the case, maybe, right? That's the argument. My issue is that, okay, we haven't gotten paid for all that time, so it means that generational wealth has been built up.
Y'all not gonna like
it. You see what I'm saying?
I understand, but I have a devil advocate's response.
Okay, tell me.
Because
we did talk about the whole slavery thing, and we did talk about the fact that we had people who were like not indentured servants, but we had people who were workers who were already here beforehand, and then also there's a lot of misconceptions about slavery, because not everybody could own slaves. You know what I'm saying? There were slaves like everywhere. You had to have money to have a slave, first of all. You had to feed them, and you had to make sure they had shelter. I mean, of course, and not everybody mistreated their slaves, right? But people who had money had slaves. And then some people who were black at the time, or African Americans, they end up getting out of slavery and purchased their own slaves. So you people had former slaves who were freedmen who decided to purchase slaves because that was part of the South's economy. That's the whole reason why it's all about money. It wasn't really about. It was about having a free labor. It was about having a labor force that feeds the economy. The South needed that labor force to feed the economy. It wasn't about I don't like you because you're black. This is business.
Yeah.
There's nothing to do with. This is all about money.
That's what it boiled down to.
That's all it comes down to. So we might happen to be the product and the commodity that is used to get money. You know what I'm saying? We have like vested interests, like for instance, all the qualities that we have that are exploited, like our music and our sports and all the other things that we have that are qualities. All that is used to exploit. We don't take the value. We don't value ourselves and say, hey, listen. You know what I'm saying? Because if why would we continue to allow it to keep happening?
Because we don't look at it like that. We're emotional people, and we're not going to monetize things that are spiritually attached to us, and that's where remember these are things we've been doing since we've been here, documented. We were here first, and if we were here first, we have the ability to be on every landmass as well. So it boils back to education and what we believe, because when it comes down to slavery, some individuals decided to give us a blanket story to tell us all of us are slaves.
Yeah.
But when you look at my family genealogy, not a one. We actually own 300 indentured servants. And if you look at the word slave refers to Slavic, which are pale people. So when they talk about slaves in history, this is why I feel like they're kind of trying to pull it out of schools now, because they're trying to clean it up. Because when you do have genealogy, which is the records of who slept with who in order for you to get here, you actually are able to see where your family members were, and it will be documented if these people were slaves. People they would be on a plantation. There would be some form of records. They kept records because they were able to go down and track these people, like how we see in the movies if they ever left, right? But when and I do genealogy for some people sometimes. So almost 90%, I've only come in contact with 2 people who said they were slaves. And when I asked them, were their family members were slaves? When I asked them about the genealogy, they said they hadn't even done it. So I'm like, you actually have no evidence that your family ever even partook in forms of slavery. So we are dealing with the blanket story, taking it, which also puts us in a further position down the pedestal, because it says that we were oppressed and somebody came here, they educated us and they did everything for us, versus us being established, having already, my family had towns and stuff. We had paved roads, we had electricity, we had running water, we had irrigation and stuff over here. So we clearly were educated before colonialism or any contact with these people. But when we get this blanket story, it's like, you can't do anything without those. So where does that put a child? Where does that put a melanated man? Mentally, it puts you behind, and then you never think you can do well financially. You never think you can do well in life, because you've only been taught you have always been a lesser, when we are the ones that they come from.
The propaganda is on another level. It's crazy that and we talk about mindsets of young men. I was sitting with a class today, and I had I had this little epiphany in my head, and I was like, we're going to start playing recorders, flutes, right? And I said, okay, I pulled up Amazon. I said, you can order this one right here. It's $8. I said, $8 is a good price. But I scroll down and I see 5 for $15. I say, hold on. For some reason, I feel like explaining this to a 5th grade class. Here's what you could do. It's not taking advantage of anybody, because a lot of people already know the mindset in the room. They're all going to be like, "Oh, you trying to get people you trying to scam people." The biggest words this year in little kid talk: scams, scammers. They love that's one of the big words. That's one of my big words for the week, yo. So I'm like, okay, if they're selling it for $8, you could sell your other 4 that you bought for $15. For that same $8, or even less. Let's say you want to seem like you're nice. You want to feel fluffy about it. You can sell it because it's just your feeling. Because people gonna pay $8 for that one right there anyway. All day.
Whether you
pay it or not. Whether you ask somebody to buy it or not. Then I said. Then I had a young man sit next to me. He said, "Well, I got money already." I was like, "You got a problem with getting more money?" But he repeats to me, "I got money already." And I'm like, what? I say, you want like LeBron? You got LeBron money? Or you got, you know what I'm saying? You got what
lunch money.
What type of lunch? You got lunch
level
money?
money
He's like,
you
man,
got.
I got $50. I'm like, well, I say, come on. I say, look at this for me. And I say to the class, I say, every pair of Nikes in here was made for maybe $16.
Yeah.
Well, inflation, 20 now. Let's say that.
Yeah.
Every pair of the Nikes that you're looking at in this room, I say, look at all of those. They were all made for $16, but they sold them to you, or for my size, for $200. You don't want to make you. He said that was. He says that's stupid. I said it's stupid for who?
Yeah, exactly.
Not for the business.
It's not for the business. I say you got on a pair of Nikes right now.
Yeah.
But what type of money you want to make? He said I already got money, and it's crazy because I automatically saw him as an adult.
Yeah.
I already got money.
Yeah.
Like I got enough.
Yeah, I got it.
Like I'm set.
Yeah.
I'm set with this. I'm set with that. I don't have to have a dream of being bigger than where I already am. I'm kind of set. And I'm like, you're in 5th grade.
Yeah, exactly.
We have to teach. We have to make business cool.
You have to.
Yeah.
I thought I was by telling them that you just paid $200 for a $15 shoe.
Yeah, exactly. But you know, I realized something.
The faces that I got, bro.
It's the mentality in this generation is I gotta have it quick. If I don't get it quick, I don't get quick money.
But it's all they're being shown.
It's exactly all they're being shown, and they're not being shown how to.
The examples of making money
that's
over
media
time.
education because
Yes.
they highlight athletes over teachers. There's no reason why, and I respect and I love LeBron James and the things that he do within the community for sure.
Great
But
guy.
there's no reason why, fam. I know you worked hard in the gym and you grind, but why are you getting paid more than teachers?
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
The teachers are the reason why you got to the point where you had to go because you had to get filtered through them. And if they didn't give you the grades you needed and taught you the things that you would,
Right.
and I know that man does math on the court. You can tell. I'm like, the
You
teachers
got
are
to.
the reason why you
It's a mix of
going
everything, but math is there. Okay.
It's
Okay.
opposite. And supposedly in Japan, they do revere teachers. And teachers make a lot of money there, but the vetting process is very hard.
That's what it's supposed to be.
And that's what it's supposed to be.
That's what it's kind of supposed to
Exactly.
be. And there's a lot of stuff. The vetting process. Florida's really. You got the tests you got to take to do Florida teaching is on another level than a lot of other states.
Yeah, that's true.
Not every state, but a lot of other states.
Yeah.
And if you could make it here, you can pretty much go get your license certification just by anywhere else.
Because it's funny you should say that. I just want to interject my daughter because the reason I was thinking about that is my daughter was telling me she said when she went to Minnesota for school for about a year or so, right? She said it was like a breeze over there. She said it was harder down here. She moved back here, but she was like it was harder. It was easier up there for what I did down here. So basically, she said it was harder down here than it was over there.
As a student?
As a student.
Oh.
So she said I just breezed through everything.
I thought it was easy breezy when I came down here for college.
She said,
But I went to military school though. I went to private school. And I also went to a private college.
yeah.
I see you got the family. You know.
The Florida Memorial University. It's okay. It's we're not direct enemies. Let me stop.
Over here.
Florida Memorial University over here, the only HBCU here in South Florida.
Yeah.
Once
In
again,
South Florida.
in South
South
Florida.
Florida.
In South Florida.
South Florida.
South
Yes,
Florida.
because I went to Daytona Beach.
Yeah.
That was my
Okay.
first college, and then I was like, let me go to Michigan State. They got good ag programs.
Okay. You gotta go with a program where it's gonna fit you, man. But that's the college talk is a whole nother situation.
Yeah, it's a whole nother.
Mindsets on money is really what I was trying to get to in this conversation, man. If you had a piece of advice for young men that wanna break out of let's say of a poverty mindset, what would you advise them to do? Or just to get started on their financial literacy journey, where would you start them at?
That's a good question. And when you say for young men, I appreciate that. It's just tailored to young men because we have to be mindful of the way we speak to our sisters. Sometimes people say workers are calloused. But I'm like, yeah, I feel like a lot of things are sugar coated here, and that's the reason why so many diabetics. We gotta chill with that.
Ooh, a bar.
But if I could part any wisdom, and I have a 10-year-old and then I have a 1-year-old, so I'm like, I think about them and like if I could tell my boys anything, and I look at any child I come in contact, like it takes a village to raise a child, so like these are my babies too, respectfully. But if I catch anybody, I do this to any young man. I always, because people are different and some people have different ambitions and different goals, I always tell them, know what it is that you are looking for in the world. You establish a plan and you set up the steps in order to execute that plan. And you are your greatest enemy and also your greatest star player. You will be your downfall and you will be the thing that rises you to the top. Because I am my greatest praise. And my girl says sometimes, she's like, you don't allow room for compliments. But I'm like, if I'm not supporting what I'm doing, how do I expect you to support what I'm doing?
It's a pole frog that don't praise his own pond.
Yes. So if whatever you do, make sure you love it, you support it, you think highly of it, and you just know you're number one at it. You could be the absolute worst, but in your mind, like I said, in your mind, know you are great, be great, and you will manifest that to the world, even if it takes time. As long as you keep on believing it and you work towards it, it will happen. And I am evidence of that. I have scaled companies past. My first company I made, this one right here. If you Google the revenue of this company, it's over $5 million. I made this sitting on the couch.
Hey, it's my mindset, man. It's got a different mindset. Just change your mindset, get that God's eye view. And you know what I'm saying? As we wrap it up, because it's been, the things we learned, we can keep going, guys. This don't stop right here. This don't stop. D&D podcast is always leveling up.
Exactly.
But I want to ask one more question that I see. I'm going, David Shands. I am biting this question from your podcast. I'm not gonna lie. I'm just gonna give credit where it is.
Yeah.
Where do you see DJ Bay, or whatever name you might change to in between and the next? Because I know I got a feeling this brother evolves.
Yeah.
And we don't always stay under.
Yeah.
We don't always stay under that name because sometimes we move with. The name doesn't move with us.
It's like P. Diddy, Mr. Love.
We got people like that. But watch Peter. You got so many people that got so many titles, man.
Yeah.
That the titles don't always stay with you.
Yeah.
They don't always stay with you.
Yeah.
So it's who you are, and if you're evolving, sometimes those titles change. And with that being said, where do you see yourself or the entity therein in the next 5 years?
Okay, within 5 years, with the things that I'm working on, literally today, and some of the phone calls I had today, I plan on being on one of my estates that we're having built. Just pretty much checking in on the valuations of all these corporations that I'm establishing. So I see myself 5 years from now in a large estate. That's my family land, and like I'm talking about acres, and we just chilling. I don't know, because it could be on our land in Belize. We just got some more acres in Africa, and that's a couple spots I like out in Florida. So I'm gonna be in one of them houses, making business calls
on an estate that belongs to your family.
Yes,
and not just a substantial estate, y'all. You understand? It's gonna be a substantial.
Real estate.
The house itself may take up an acre.
That's a lot of cleaning.
That's a lot. That's a family right there. That's a whole lot of family. Yeah, man, and it's just been freaking awesome once again on the D&D Leveling Up podcast. Y'all make sure y'all hit us up in the comments. Yeah. Like, comment, and subscribe. Do not forget to leave your views on this situation in the comment section. We love to hear from y'all.
Love to hear from you. If you don't know, now you know.
Now you know.
From the great, big, and smalls. I just thank everybody for being here and for this podcast, guys. I hope you actually are encouraged by the words that you hear. If there's something that you see, you heard, or you saw that you didn't agree with, we want all the smoke. Just put it down in the comments, and we're gonna try to address it as best as possible. And it's D&D Leveling Podcast. Anything you want to say, Mr. Bay?
Oh man, I appreciate the invite, and I hope I didn't overspeak my welcome, and I hope I get to come back again.
Oh man, hey,
sure, brother.
hey, just because you said that, you coming back.
Yeah.
Just because you had to say that, you on your way back.
You on your way back.
Man, you already scheduled for podcast number 15.
Okay. I'll make sure I put it on the schedule.
Put it on the schedule. All right.
All right, guys.
Yeah.
Peace out.
If that's still recorded.